now, thousands of Israelis are up in arms against government plans to give lawmakers more control of the judicial system. Well, on Wednesday, the president, Isaac Herzog, he unveiled alternative changes to the judiciary. However, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he rejected the new proposal. The president warned, though, on Wednesday that Israel was at a turning point. Isaac Herzog stressed he had been involved in mediation efforts and speaking with thousands of people for weeks now. He said a civil war is a red line.
Bonds with the United States.
מי שחושב שמלחמת אחים של ממש, של חיי אדם, היא גבול שלא נגיע אליו, אין לו מושג. דווקא עכשיו, בשנת ה-75 למדינת ישראל, התהום במרחק נגיעה. אבל אני באמת מאמין בכל ליבי שאנחנו ניצבים היום גם בפני הזדמנות כבירה, היסטורית. הזדמנות להסדרה חוקתית, מאוזנת, חכמה ומוסכמת של יחסי הרשויות, במדינה היהודית והדמוקרטית שלנו, במדינה האהובה שלנו.
Well, the Israeli Prime Minister rejected the president's proposal. Netanyahu said the main parts of the president's proposal will only worsen the current situation.
אני יוצא עכשיו לביקור בגרמניה, בו ייפגש עם קנצלר גרמניה. הנושא העיקרי שאני אדון בו זה איראן, וגם נושאים אחרים שחשובים למדינת ישראל. הנושאים הביטחוניים לא לוקחים פסק זמן אפילו לרגע. בעניין מתווה הנשיא, אני חושב שכל ניסיון להגיע להסכמה, להידברות בוודאי, הוא ראוי, ועל כן נציגי הקואליציה.
Well, the Israeli government says the reforms are crucial. The government has been citing an imbalance that has given judges too much power over elected representatives. Well, critics, notably on the right of the argument, have said that Israel's top court judges have exceeded their authority by claiming the right to strike down legislation. The Netanyahu government wants to implement an override clause. Well, the override clause would allow Parliament to overrule some Supreme Court decisions with the support of 61 lawmakers in the 120-member Parliament. Well, Netanyahu's government wants to change the system through which judges are appointed, giving politicians more control. Netanyahu has dismissed the anti-judicial reform protests. The government sees it as a refusal by leftist opponents to accept the results of last November's election. The protesters say, though, the future of Israeli democracy is at stake if the government succeeds in pushing through the plans. Well, apart from weakening the judiciary, protesters say the plans will undermine the rights of minorities and open the door for more corruption. Well, let's get more now from our correspondent, Jodie Cohen, who's joining us live from Tel Aviv. This is a complicated situation. What's going on today with this National Day of Disruption, especially in the context of the Prime Minister rejecting the President's compromise framework?
Right, so we've seen 10 weeks of these protests. They were called days of disruption, then they were called days of resistance. And today's demonstration is being billed as a day of escalating resistance. I'm in Tel Aviv, where we've seen the largest of the protests around the country. And as you can see behind me is very much a peaceful protest. This is actually interesting. This is a group of religious Jews who've come together to sing about peace and for unity. They, in coordination with the police, they're blocking. This is the main thoroughfare in Tel Aviv. And this has been blocked off for the protesters for a couple of hours. Now, all of these protests were planned before Prime Minister Netanyahu rejected President Herzog's proposed compromise framework. And we may see greater numbers turn out today as a result of that rejection. The protests are taking place in 150 locations all over the country, at the airport where I was yesterday, at schools, at junctions, at hospitals, at startups, at the homes of ministers, even outside embassies. For example, the British embassy, where Prime Minister Netanyahu is expected to travel next week. Now, many people are concerned about the judicial reform plans. The opposition say they would harm democracy. The coalition says they would strengthen democracy. There are many people in the middle who believe that while the judiciary is too strong, the proposals would make the government too strong, and they're hoping for a compromise. For the first time, they've come out to protest specifically with that message as well today. So while Prime Minister Netanyahu has said no to this framework, the opposition leaders have expressed cautious approval of the framework as a basis for talks and have criticised the government for so quickly dismissing it.
Jodie Cohen in Tel Aviv, thank you so very much.